What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. The Phillies sweep the New York Yankees in a two-game set. Oh, my God, I almost choked. I didn't think that was possible. I didn't know if this Phillies team was going to be able to keep it up. Well, they sure can. They sure did. They sure were amazing, and that team just showed that they had guts. It was not pretty in Game 1 as Hector Neris blew the lead to DJ LeMahieu with the 3-run bomb late. But Jean Segura, also known as Babe Ruth, stepped up and came up clutch. He's just getting hits every single damn day. At this point, he's up to 339 with his batting average. Oh, by the way, Odubel Herrera is now hitting 282. And I heard on the broadcast over the weekend that this team was so brutal with the center field position that they went from one of the worst in the entire league to number 2 in all of baseball when it comes to their production at that position. Odubel Herrera at the leadoff spot has been a nice spark plug, and I think because we've seen Andrew McCutchen struggle in that area for so long, it's nice to see that, well, you can maneuver around that and you can try something new and see if there's any sort of charge there, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing. Jean Segura in the 2-hole. I think you're seeing this lineup somewhat fill out nicely with Alec Boehm now in a different spot and with guys like JT Realmuto getting back for you, Bryce Harper. And I know these guys have been healthy over the last couple of games and whatnot. It's not like this is their first game back, but I think just naturally the discussion about where this team is, how healthy they are, I think you're seeing the correlation between winning more baseball games and the guys getting back into your lineup. And I think your team is filling out nicely where Alec Boehm is no longer like someone that you need to highly depend on. And by the way, he's hitting way better now. He's going the other way with it. He's got confidence, and I think that, this team has stressed different areas at the plate, and you're now seeing that. They tried to produce runs the old-fashioned way when they couldn't get those timely hits and when they couldn't score runs by hit after hit after hit. You'd see someone get on first for a single, steal second, and hope and pray that within 3 batters you can knock in that one run, but instead you're now pounding 4 runs in the first inning on Saturday afternoon. And by the way, it probably should have been more if Andrew McCutchen could have hit that grand slam and ended up being a sac fly instead. Talk about blowing the game up right from there. We wouldn't have had to see extra innings. We wouldn't have had the late heroics by Jean Segura. It just would have been blown out right from the jump. But you pounded that Yankees team so much that their starting pitcher had to be pulled in the first inning, and that's damaging for sure. Look, this Yankees team, I know that their organization is very big and it pops and it's flashy, but they're basically a 500 baseball team for a reason. So let's not get blown away that they're murdering some team that's filled with excellence. The Yankees are not strong, but I do love the fact that the Phillies, not the Sixers, have won 6 of their last 8, and they seem to be trending in the right direction. What will tell me a lot, though, is how are they going to look and what are we going to see when they go to the Los Angeles Dodgers, when they play the San Francisco Giants, when they go play the Gabe Kaplers. I think that would tell me more about, is this just a fun little 8-game sample size, or is there some truth to what we've been seeing all around as a team? So with Game 1, you had an early lead, and then Vince Velasquez was on the mound. Vince Velasquez went 5 innings, allowed 2 earned runs. I'll tell you one thing I liked about Vinny V. He had some hiccups along the way. There's no denying that. He did allow a couple runs, but ultimately, what I've seen different this year compared to in years past is when there's traffic on base, and let's say, hypothetically, there's a leadoff double, or there's a guy on first and second base with 1 out. The old Vince Velasquez would get very uncomfortable and start missing spots, missing locations, getting drilled, and his pitch sequence would go to shit. But now you have Vince Velasquez feeling confident and recognizing that, okay, there's a man on second base. I don't give a damn. Let me stay true to myself. Let me pitch the way I know how to pitch, and I'll be just fine working around traffic on the bases. He was fine. You saw Coonrod allow a 1 earned run, and Ranger Suarez, which, look, he's not going to give you 0 earned runs forever. There's ultimately going to be a time where Ranger Suarez allows an earned run here and there. He allowed that, so now you're talking a 7-4 ball game. And I know the storylines is Hector Neris is garbage and this bullpen is garbage. I looked it up today, actually. The Phillies bullpen right now in terms of ERA is in the top 10 of Major League Baseball. I tried telling people it's not as bad as what you think. It feels brutal because all you remember are the tough losses. You don't remember the times where they do their job and they actually finish out a game where your starter only gives you 4 or 5 innings and then your bullpen cruises through 4 innings or so and they finish it off and they get the victory. You don't remember those. You only remember the garbage ones where Hector Neris blows the lead. And yeah, there's a track record as of late of Hector Neris not being strong. I've also seen good seasons by Hector Neris, and I'm not against trying something new, but I will say I'm willing to give Hector Neris one more time before I move to Archie Bradley or before I move to somebody else. I don't know how many options you really have. Alvarado is not something that you can truly rely on. He's wild and he's very all over the place. And talk about an emotional roller coaster. You'd think Hector Neris is hard to rely on, but Alvarado is just as brutal, if not even worse. Archie Bradley could be a move, but other than that, I know Kinsler had times of doing it. There's no way in hell that individual is touching the mound in a late game situation. He's in David Hale territory. Connor Brogdon, you can't rely on enough. He's too young and he's blown up too many damn times. So it's not as if you have a bajillion options on your bench to go to in a closing situation. I did see Archie Bradley, though, pitch the best I've seen in quite some time, and you saw the velocity up. You saw the 95, and it was probably the most electric we've seen out of Archie Bradley, so hopefully we can pray and see if he maybe can step into that role. But Joe Girardi said afterwards that he's going to stick with Hector Neris, and I don't mind it. I'm not against it. I think that people put the blame on him more times than not just because they're frustrated over the years, but, he's just kind of an average closer. And if you look at everything that this team has improved, they needed to revamp the entire bullpen, and they basically did. And you're telling me that the closer stayed the same because you had an average closer. I am not against that whatsoever. Where I have the problem is, and Doc Rivers does this, and Joe Girardi does this, and it's just the nature of being a professional head coach or manager, and it seems to be in this city. But, Doc Rivers telling us that we don't know anything about basketball, and then Joe Girardi's telling us that, well, he saw Mariano Rivera pitch before, and Mariano, he ended up missing out on some blown saves too, or he missed out on some save opportunities and blown saves before. Look, I'm probably more on the defending Hector Neris than the ripping Hector Neris, but no way in hell are we sitting in a situation where we are now comparing the best closer who ever played the game of baseball to Hector Neris. That's just asinine, Joe. And I thought that was a little aggressive, in my opinion. There's no way. What I have the problem with Hector is when you're up 7-4, there's no way that you walk 2 batters. That's an embarrassment. A solo home run will not hurt you. So if you're in a spot where you might throw a pitch that can get crucified, so be it. Now it's 7-5. Now it's 7-6. It's not 7-7. So what you did to walk the first 2 batters, that's the disgrace for me, where you can't be afraid. A 1-run solo shot is not going to hurt this team. It's the 3-run bomb and the walks that come back to bite you in the ass. So that's what I have the problem with. That's what eats me alive more. But when that home run was hit, you heard the fans go wild, and I've been stressing this for a while when it comes to this fan base. The Phillies fan base, it's unfortunately not where I want it to be. I want it to be where the Dodgers are, where the Yankees are, where the Red Sox are, and they're just not. Now, they lose a lot of baseball games. Their franchise is one of the most losing franchises in sports history, and they don't put together a good product for longevity. So I guess in theory it makes a lot of sense, but when I see the Mets come to town and when I see the Yankees come to town and I watch the aggressiveness in Citizens Bank Park really blow up, it's like, why? Why does it take the Yankees and the Yankees fans to travel to Philadelphia for Citizens Bank Park to have 30+ thousand people? It should be that way anyway. No, we are a fan base, a 4-for-4 fan base that is diehard, that loves our team, that wears our emotions on our sleeve. There's no way in hell other opponents should come into your barn. Now, naturally, when you see a Yankees logo, it's a Yankees logo. So there's some fan bases that will come into town, whether it's any of the Montreal Canadiens have that fan base, the Toronto Maple Leafs have that fan base, the Detroit Red Wings have that fan base. There's plenty of fan bases. The Cowboys have that fan base, unfortunately, where it doesn't matter where you are. Fans are going to show up in the opposing team's ballpark. But I do have an issue that I see that too frequently. Or if it's not one of those big market teams, there's 14,000 to watch this Phillies team. Now, they are upsetting. They are a bad product more times than not. So I do understand that to a degree they're not worth the money. But we'll see. We'll see if they continue this hot streak. Will the fans still not show up, or will you see the product kind of grow with all of the drunk fans drinking a shit ton of beer, getting hammered, and trying to catch foul balls and flipping over seats? I don't know. I'm just spitballing things that you see. Segura, by the way, 3 hits in game 1 of this series, 3 hits in game 2 of this series, including the walk-off. And I just feel whenever something goes wrong for this Phillies team, Jean Segura is the first person to get blamed, as if it's his fault. He doesn't have good baseball IQ, and he's a problem in the dugout. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think he becomes the scapegoat more times than not. I think he is the guy that everyone thinks is easy to blame. Jean Segura has been on a tear, and it's beautiful. I mean, when he gets up to the plate, he's to the point now where I can't miss his at-bat. Now, quite frankly, I don't miss a lot of these guys' at-bats anyway, but when Gene's up at the dish, I have to make sure if I'm in the kitchen cleaning the dishes or grabbing a drink or making some lunch or making some dinner, whatever the case is, and I hear that Jean Segura is up to bat, I'm running to my living room and I'm standing 2 feet from my TV with my arms crossed because I need to see Jean Segura bat. He is literally tearing the cover off the baseball, and he's doing it in so many ways. Whether it's in the gap in left center field or whether it's up the middle and he's taking what's given to him. He's not trying too hard. He's doing what's needed to be done, and he's taking the simple approach. And I think that's not ironic that you're seeing him succeed while not overthinking what he's trying to do at the plate. Odubel in the leadoff spot, as I mentioned. Alec Boehm is coming alive. Bryce Harper had 3 hits in the 8-7 walk-off win. And by the way, Neris, I mean, we can't give this guy enough credit where Didi Gregorius is having issues and he's battling a lot, and I don't know where he exactly stands at the moment, but I will say that Ronald Torreyes has been a dog, and for him to get the nod, and for him, especially, keep in mind, you saw Nick Maton really step up. So he had to. And look, I'm not making it seem like Nick Maton is impossible to beat, because that's not the case. But I do think that there's an element of Nick Maton was playing lights out, and you had to steal that from Nick Maton. It wasn't handed to you. So you had to outperform a young player who was playing very well at the time, who it was hard to keep him off the diamond. That is impressive to me. Now, I'm pretty positive I saw something about Didi Gregorius and where he's at now. Phillies shortstop Didi Gregorius experienced a setback in his return from elbow surgery. And that's courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia. And Jim Salisbury wrote this piece. So, in terms of where is Didi, I just don't think that he's going to be in a spot that makes me feel very comfortable about his play. And it might be, unfortunately, a scenario where it's not good all year long. It's not good for the entire season. There are concerns for me that maybe you don't even see Didi Gregorius at all. Is Torreyes going to be able to be this much of an X factor all season long? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be this player forever, but I do know he plays a stellar defense. He keeps the ball in front of him. He gives you that 100% effort, and he's been swinging the bat very good as well. So in terms of where he's hitting at the moment, he's hitting .284 in his 67 at-bat. So just to kind of look at that, .284 from him. Odubel Herrera has been incredible. A lot of that has been just awesome. Just awesome. And yes, I see the chat going wild here. What's wrong with my voice? That's a great question. I just talked for 4 hours on the Fanatic, so I think that maybe I'm losing my voice a little bit from just doing a radio show for 4 hours. And I did not expect this because it was not that way on the radio at all. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I'm trying my best to power through, and maybe I just need to give myself a rest. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here with my voice, but we're giving it a go, and we're trying our best. We don't take days off here, okay? We just power through. Just like Aaron Nola in that 7-0 win against the Yankees in Game 2. He was sensational. 7 2/3, 9 strikeouts. Someone said, Brodes, give him a Fiji. I got a Fiji. I got some water. Here, I'll take a sip. I'm with you. I'm with you. Hold on a second. I'm battling through. Very refreshing. I don't know where that goes. I don't know if that changes anything. Hello, 1 2. Hello, 1 2. Hello, 1 2. Well, it does feel a little bit better right now. So I apologize for whatever I just put on display prior to that. I'm going through. Anyway, Nola, 7 2/3, 9 strikeouts. He was amazing. Now, no Aaron Judge in that final game. And also, keep in mind, no Stanton because of the DH. So there were some power hitters that were not available for the Yankees, but that does not change the fact that I saw Aaron Nola looking smooth, a lot of strikeouts, and you need anything. I don't give a damn if it's against the Pittsburgh Pirates or one of the worst teams in the league. You need Aaron Nola to gain some confidence. So whatever it takes for him to feel like he's back into the Aaron Nola self that we need him to be in, I don't give a damn if it's against the Yankees team that is not as great as maybe we would have anticipated before. But another game where you get out to an early lead, you're up 4-0 in the game after 2 innings. Herman did not stay in late. He got yanked somewhere after that 4th inning. So you're just going to their bullpen and you're taking advantage of their bullpen pieces being forced to throw a lot. So, something the Phillies did very well was score early, attack early, pounce on their starting pitching, force them to go to their pen, and then, attack more. And we talk about all the time that this Phillies team, they never win or lose in easy ways. There's always just the worst ways possible, the most emotional wins, the most emotional losses. We finally saw a scenario where they just handle business and cruise with ease. Now, watching the Yankees play, they had some base running mistakes. Odor getting caught in between second and third. On top of that, LeMahieu missing an easy throw over to first base where I believe it was Jean Segura. He went from first to third. He just flat out missed the ball. Just your standard throw over to first to keep Jean Segura in check. And it was just sloppy baseball. It reminded me a lot of what we saw out of the Phillies for a majority of this season. But yeah, the Yankees have had that type of season as well. And the Yankees yankied more than the Phillies phillied. Before we continue here, let's hear from my friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but also America's top-rated sportsbook. I love using DraftKings Sportsbook. It is easy to navigate, has plenty of instructions for new bettors, and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. My friends and family have been loving DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRODES when you sign up for all the phenomenal odds and promotions on baseball, hockey, and so much more all week long. That's promo code BRODES for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only, wager paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, you know that we are going to go to the Anytime Hotline right now. Maybe that'll be good for my voice so I don't have to talk as much. I don't know what's going on here. This is the first time I've lost my voice to this level in quite some time, but let's go to the Anytime Hotline. There's a combination. It looks like the first couple of calls is about Saturday, and then the last couple of calls is about Sunday. Here we go.
Brodes, I just watched Hector Neris blow yet another save. This dude is garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. There is nobody on the Phillies bench that would be a worse option in the 9th inning than Hector Neris right now. He's horrible. He must have naked pictures of Middleton's family because there's no way in the world he should still be closing a ball game for the Phillies right now.
I disagree. I disagree. I don't think it's the worst option ever. It's just because he's not had a good season. And there's been a lot of drama surrounding Hector Neris, but he's also had a lot of experience, a lot of great closes. He's been an average guy for you basically his entire tenure here. I just think it's overblown. Right now, he does not have confidence, and I'm willing to give Hector Neris, an experienced guy in that area, another chance to kind of earn that respect and earn that role and to keep that role. You're acting like there's 10 billion options on the bench. I already went through this. Alvarado is not an option. Archie Bradley might be, but what else? Connor Brogdon, Brandon Kintzler. Come on, Ranger Suarez is a nice story, but I don't think he's at the point now where he's a shut-down closer because he's been nice in relief in certain moments. And I, quite frankly, like him more in a piggyback role after Spencer Howard more than I do a late-inning guy, but I also understand using him in that territory as well. But I think it's just reactionary, knee-jerk reaction. Hector Neris is this Jean Segura. He's the guy that you yell at because you're annoyed when it's not as bad as you want it to seem. Right now is not a great spurt for Hector Neris. He has not been strong over the last handful of opportunities. Long term, though, like, for example, right, people always mention Chapman. Well, Chapman gave up the lead in the game against the Minnesota Twins prior to the Phillies series where Josh Donaldson and Cruz hit bombs off him and they blew the lead. So instead of sweeping the Minnesota Twins, they won 2 of 3 against the Minnesota Twins. And then even though there was a guy on second base because of the extra innings rule, Chapman blew the game again against the Phillies. So the elite closers of the world, dare I mention how the New York Yankees lost the playoff series in the past? I just think that there's so much stress on this elite closer. Who are you getting that's an elite closer that you can rely on? Even the elite of the elite, you can't rely on every single damn time. So I understand why people are upset with him, but I think that there's also a line, and people are unfortunately crossing that line.
Let's go, Phillies! Let's go! That being said, Neris is some ass, but we got Gene the hit machine. Let's go, bros.
Gene the hit machine. I literally love it. I literally absolutely love it. The screaming in the beginning, I wonder if those guys were shit-bombed, if they were canned, if they were just shotgunning beers prior to the game. Maybe they went to the game and they figured on their way out, that, or maybe they were at the game and they were in the stadium just feeling it. Once again, with the Hector Neris thing, I just think that it's totally going to a wild extreme of how bad he is. There's a reason why he has as many saves as he has. Once again, I'm not sitting here defending Hector Neris, telling you he's the greatest closer in the entire world. I'm telling you that Hector Neris is not as bad as you think he is, even though he's going through a tough moment. All of these closers in the league go through tougher moments. If he was to shut down teams in 3 straight outings, not one person would say Hector Neris was strong tonight. Hector Neris did his job tonight. Hector Neris utilized that splitter very well. Now, I do think it's odd that, in years past we had problems with the splitter and the lack of keeping it in the strike zone. Well, now I think it's more of the fastball just getting annihilated, and I think that's more of the issue than the splitter at the moment. But, yeah, I think it's just getting a little bit overblown.
Today showed us a few things. To list 3 of them in particular, 1, Hector Neris needs to sit for a while and Girardi needs to give the setup and close roles to Archie Bradley and Ranger Suarez respectively. 2, if Jean Segura is not an All-Star in Colorado next month, the All-Star voting is rigged. And 3, I have seen a lot of this fan base call for Joe Girardi to be fired. Well, today just showed why they better be glad he's not Aaron Boone.
Well, look, this is where I stand on all these managers. I think if you're screaming to fire Joe Girardi already, you're just oblivious and very too emotional when it comes to that. And same with Boone. The Yankees fans want Boone fired every day. Like, doesn't that tell you, basically that there's a problem here where every fan base wants every coach fired. Every fan base wants every manager fired. People put way too much stress and focus on the manager. This is baseball in 2021. You're informed what to do by the numbers and the analytics and everything above you, where you got to look at the front offices more so. Is it Boone's fault that the Yankees only score their runs by home runs? No, it's the analytical approach that is pretty much handed down by the front office and their analytical department. So, to me, you start screaming about managers getting fired and this and that, and it's all a joke, in my opinion. It's really not that big of a deal compared to your roster. When it comes to Jean Segura, yeah, he has serious all-star vote potential, and if this is who he is all year, it's a no-doubter, a no-brainer. And he's been an all-star before in the past, and he's had great seasons in the past. I'm not shocked that we're seeing it now, but I guess because we haven't seen this level of Gene. Even the first year he got here, he was good, but the whole Andrew McCutchen thing sort of made him uncomfortable, and he wasn't hitting 300 good, but he was good. Now he's showing, arguably one of the best runs he's probably had in quite some time, but he's had success in Seattle. He's had success with the Arizona Diamondbacks as well. But, yeah, Jean Segura has been just so damn good. And same with Odubel Herrera. There were times where people didn't want Odubel. And I tried telling everyone, regardless of what he did and where he was at with everything surrounding the domestic violence case, the Phillies were giving him a chance. The Phillies were giving him an opportunity. Now, whether that's because they wanted to or they technically could not cut him because of the MLBPA and the rules set in place, he was your best option over any of the other players, and he is playing phenomenal baseball. Him at the leadoff spot, I love where the lineup is. I think Odubel leading off with Bryce Harper hitting cleanup right now. You have Odubel, Jean Segura, JT Realmuto, and Bryce Harper. I love where it's at. I truly do. I love exactly where it's at. All right, let's go back to the lines.
Well, it only took a couple months, but that was an actual enjoyable Phillies game to watch. Good pitching, good defense, and good hitting. I know I'm shocked. I don't know if they flipped the switch because they mentioned it all during the broadcast, but the team just hit a lot better, especially with two strikes. Not too many flailing and bailing at the plate, guys putting the ball in play, content to get singles, and it's amazing what you can do if you simplify your approach. Secondly, I think, we bashed this guy, and rightfully so, coming into the year, but Odubel Herrera and his insertion into the leadoff spot has sparked this team. You have a guy that plays with energy, that's got some speed at the top of the lineup, that is hitting. And I think that was a sneaky good move by Girardi, done out of desperation, but it's been effective so far.
No doubt. With Andrew McCutchen struggling the way that he was, I think he kind of had an opportunity to try something new. And you're right, maybe it is desperation, but sometimes desperation can maybe be that piece that ends up changing the direction of the team, and I thought that was stellar. And I agree with you that this team just looked different, whether it's Alec Boehm going the other way with it and him looking better, and I think that naturally carries over to the defensive side of the baseball as well, where Alec Boehm isn't looking as horrendous defensively at times, and it just looks like a better brand of baseball, like it's the carryover effect. When you do better at the plate, you do better defensively, and I think when you do horrendous at the plate, maybe it carries over to how you kind of analyze the game defensively, and your body language goes to hell, and your head's in this mental space where you just need to be better. And yeah, I think that's kind of where it's at. But good for the Phils. They're now over 500, and as I alluded to earlier, you're sitting in a situation where you play the LA Dodgers, you play the San Francisco Giants. What do you got? What do you got? If you go 500 on this road trip, let's say you win one series and then you go 1-2 in the other series, I guess that's an added, that's solid. I mean, you can only ask for so much when you're going on the road to play some of these really tough opponents. If you go 500 on the road, it's not necessarily the worst place to be, but if you do anything better than that, I will be very excited about where they are, and let's see if they can just continue the ride. I just don't know if I buy in or not, and I think this road trip, this West Coast swing, is going to be the difference in me feeling that way or not. So I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out. with me today. I am doing this live. I do see the chat going crazy. Some people are asking if this is pre-recorded and it's just playing live, or if this is live. No, this is live. Sometimes I just like to do the podcast live and let it rock. So I'm kind of just doing that tonight. And, a lot of it has to do with post-production wise. It gets up way faster. I just did a 4-hour show on the Fanatic, so I come home and to just do it live, it gets uploaded instantly. It's a little bit easier, but my voice is shot. I am defeated. My ass is kicked today. There's no denying it. So I just want to thank everybody for hanging out. Go Phils. We'll see how they respond in these next 2 series. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.